So I made a decision, and what that decision was I'm going to do steps 4 through 12 to the best of my ability. Now that means I'm going to take an inventory, a written one, not one in my head, because guess what? To me, this is my problem. This is what this book says. Oh yeah, this book. This is a little different one, isn't it? But yeah, you know, I just can't think my way into this. You know, I think one of the most important things is, you know, it says in the big book that we are not to, you know, we still have a problem. I didn't think about this one. We still have a problem with analyzing ourselves, and that self-appraisal is insufficient. Ooh, okay, so I need a little help with that. It's now, you might think that just includes having a sponsor, and it does. It definitely includes having this book to read and to go by what it says. Now, first thing is, I found that what works for me, they do have the cheat sheets out there, and they were really helpful. Through the course of me doing the process, as well as you know, taking other guys through this, I've tried to figure out what's going to be the easiest way with the least amount of work, because I don't know about you, I like doing the least amount of work. So I got these worksheets, and you know, start with resentments. You know, resentments is basically just my shit list. I've been probably telling people about it for years, and I'm finally going to write it down. Simplest way I can put it. You know, I'm going to write down everything I'm afraid of to the best of my ability. I'm going to write down my sexual conduct. Now, that may be as far as most people go when they're reading that particular section in the big book. However, if you go to, and this is why having a sponsor, this is why reading the big book through several times before you actually do this is most helpful. You can tell it was written by a drunk, because it talks about in step 8 and 9 one more list that it doesn't talk about in that particular section, where it talks about resentments, fears, and your sex conduct. It talks about harms to others, and that's a nice little, I think, catch-all to doing that. I had a sponsor that gave me those worksheets so that I had that available, and then, you know, of course, this was still all great to me when I'm doing this, but now that I went through not only doing it, but rereading it, and I was like, oh, this is where this comes from, you know. And I'm telling everybody this is because this is, first of all, what I do. Secondly, I have seen people not do this properly, you know, and this could be our lives here. You know, we don't want to get drunk because we forgot to do something. And I don't know about you, I want to do it right the first time, because trust me, most people don't want to do this at all. So, you know, my first of all, inventory. It wasn't so much a 4-step inventory. You know, there's also the 10-step inventory. This was just my first inventory. This is the way it was kind of explained to me. This was going to be a lifelong process if I wanted to be happy, joyous, and free. If I don't want to be happy, joyous, and free, don't do it. Don't do it regularly. Bill also says, you know, in the big book, business which takes no regular inventory will go broke. And I believe that. You know, I'm selfish. I'm the business. So I need to look at myself quite regularly, because frankly there's a lot of stock on my shelves that I just don't need, and you know, I've kept it around for years, and that's okay, but you know, it's time to get rid of it. Think of running a long race. You know, I have a long race ahead, hopefully, and the less stuff I'm holding on to, the easier it is to run. So, you know, and it's about improvement. That's what it is. You know, it's about me getting honest with myself. You know, I'll know the truth and it'll set you free. I read it somewhere. So, there's 3 ways to look at this. You know, if you're still an atheist, agnostic, you know, I believe it was Socrates that said, you know, the unexamined life is not worth living. Okay. If you're somewhere in the between having a God of your understanding, or if you're, you know, really into AA or NA or NEA that's going to save you, right? You know, Bill Wilson did say, you know, like I just said, a business which takes no regular inventory will go broke. You know, I also have read the Bible. I'm going to bring this into it, the Bible, and it says, you know, you ought to examine yourselves. You know, and what that says is I ought to do it. You know, I'm not going to examine you. I don't need to take your inventory. I don't need to take my girlfriend, husband, wife's, kids, other people's inventory, some friend who needs to be in the program. I need to take my inventory. It's about my side of the street. You know, I tried to clean the other side of the street up for years, and those little people kept making a mess. It's a lot easier to start looking at myself, stop doing this, start doing this, and clean up my own side of the street, you know, and because I can't fix anybody. Sooner I get that through my head, the better, you know. I try not to come to any meeting anymore and talking about what you ought to do. I'd like to, believe me. I like to help people out a little bit more, but I'm going to say this is what I do. I don't know what's best for you. I don't want you trying something and going out and it make you worse. Here's what I did. Here's how it helped me, you know. What do I suggest? The first thing when you're, you know, writing resentments down, I just have them do it on a blank sheet of paper, and we're going to start with the who before we get into the worksheets. I show them the worksheets just to kind of, you know, get you familiar with them, because like you said, if it's like me, it's like looking at a Greek, you know, and I just didn't understand it. So what I found is if I list all my resentments, okay, that when it comes time to, on a separate sheet of paper, put them into, whether I'm doing this, you know, the whole process on notebook paper, whether I'm using cheat sheets, if I have a resentment against one person, chances are I may have more than one thing I want to write down about that person. You know, I mean, I'm still finding stuff I should have put down the first time. And that's another thing, you know, that we don't have to do this perfect, just do it to the best of our ability. If I didn't get it before, I can do it another time, because inventory is a regular process. I have found that doing this daily works. Doing it weekly doesn't. Missing a day doesn't. Doing this consistently helps me. And probably through I've been through some stressful times lately, just with my life. It's of course little stuff, but it just added up. Had I not been doing this, I probably would have been drunk. You know, wait, I'm a real alcoholic and drug addict. Just waiting for the day that happened, you know. If I don't do this stuff, if I don't take out my insurance policy, you know, that's going to happen. Now, there's two ways to look at that. Either look at it in sort of a negative fashion, meaning if I don't do this, I might get drunk, I might kill myself, I might die. Or I can look at this positively. Do I want to be happy, joyous, and free? If I do these things that are suggested to me, I will be happy, joyous, and free. So when I transfer that my list that I had on paper to the worksheets, then I can get a better understanding, because I'm not just going to have one. And this is where, you know, as a sponsor, I usually step in and I want to look at it and see, because I don't want them to mess up to completely have to write their 4-step over again and me rip it up. You know, that's what they used to do in the old days. I kind of got the, thank you for my sponsor that he didn't do that. He warned me it was going to happen, and I probably needed it done because I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I was trying the best of my ability. It just wasn't good enough. So I did this. Number 2 is always be consistent about an inventory, whether it's your first time or your daily inventory. Doesn't matter. Consistency is the key. To find that time every day to do it. I suggest when you're doing your first one, you don't want to do it any more than 30 minutes to 45 minutes at a time without taking a break. Just unless you're on a roll. There's always exceptions to that. Some people can and can't. And you know, let's be honest here. If you're anything like I was, I'm still not, but around here, this was still crazy. And I was just doing my best to get through it all. And, you know, I don't have to run a race. In the book, it talks easy does it. So I've got these 4 essential lists, you know, and usually when you do it, yeah, the price of paper will probably go up because you're using so much. That's okay. You're not unique. I've seen guys with short inventories, short lives to live, but they're, you know, that didn't matter. It's not the length, it's the quality of it. The one thing that anybody could tell me, I don't know if it necessarily talks about this in the big book or not, but put that one thing down you don't want to. I had several of them. I won't discuss them at length because that's between me and my sponsor and my friends who I talk to in the program, you know. But put it down, because that might be the one thing that gets you drunk. Worst case, it's the one thing that's going to make you squirrely when you're around. And if you're anything like me, you know, I'm trying to make that squirreliness as little as possible. You know, and try not to, because that could come out and, you know, affect other people. Imagine that. Put it down there, let it go. You know, as a sponsor, when it comes time to not only look it over, but to do the fifth step and you know, just talk honestly about it. The nice thing is you know, I kind of want to see some good stuff on there because it makes it fun. You know, I know mine wasn't nothing perfect. You know, we spent all of our lives, you know, bragging about what we had done when we were out there. Now we're afraid to put it down and talk to somebody else about it to get rid of it. You know, this is the one step in order. It's like bench pressing. So we're to get it off our chest, and this is what we got to do. If not, you know, then if this process, if you're not ready for this, you know, talk to your sponsor. You might need to go back and look at what steps and just start working backwards. You know, if you made a decision to do this steps because it might change the way you think and make you normal, because the way you were doing things weren't going to work, great. If there's something missing in that process, well, you need to go back before you do this. So I don't think it's wrong to do an inventory, but be careful with it and keep it kind of guarded. This is your inventory. This isn't for anybody else. So.